In the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Rico with you, just carrying over from the captain. What's up, Rico?
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going.
How was the weekend?
Even though people are upset at me.
Yeah.
The weekend was great, dude.
People are mad.
It was fantastic. I spent some time outside, got our AC fixed, so it was good. Went and watched Doctor Strange.
Oh, how was it?
Wasn't great.
Thank you.
Wasn't great.
What did I tell you, Rico?
Wasn't great. It set up the rest of the movies, which is great, which is fine, which is amazing. But wasn't great.
I know it wasn't great. I tried telling you it wasn't great. And you know what you said? You laughed and you spat in my face.
I did.
And said,
well, you didn't understand it anyway, so.
It was bad.
I understood it.
Spider-Man No Way Home, good.
It was good.
Doctor Strange, bad.
First Doctor Strange, good. This Doctor Strange.
We were in Mark's office looking at ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, and you were like, "Oh, you can't trust those things."
Yeah, you can't.
It's bad.
It's not great.
This is great.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
No, it's bad.
It's not great.
It's bad.
It's not great.
It was a jumbled mess.
Non-spoiler spoiler.
Yeah.
There you're at 3, 2, 1. I wanted to make a tweet that I was gonna say more like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Murder. Because there's a lot.
Unnamed texter says Doctor Strange equals Mona Lisa. As in both are bad.
Mark even said it was bad.
I know it was bad.
It was not great.
I want you to admit to me that I was right.
You were not right. You didn't understand it.
It's bad. Give it to me.
I'm not gonna give you this. No.
Bro. It's bad. A new texter says this. Nick, you've seen 2 Marvel movies. There's no value to your ranking of the movies. Hey.
It's true.
But I was right.
You weren't right so much as you weren't all the way wrong.
You're backpedaling. You're trying to get out of it.
I'm not backpedaling. The movie wasn't great.
It was bad.
It wasn't bad.
It
wasn't great.
Let's see if they've updated the Doctor Strange IMDb thing.
Well, while you're looking at that,
oh yeah,
we have music.
Let's hit it.
You're pissed.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Nick and Rico's Pest of the Weekend on Happy Hour, brought to you by Bats to Rats.
Insubordinate and churlish.
All right, 402-464-5685. It's time for the Pest of the Weekend, sponsored by Bats to Rats. Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Call Dane to help get rid of any bat or rodent problem at 402-310-0904 or go online at batstoRats.com. That's Bats to Rats, wildlife control and prevention. All right.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Murder.
Go ahead. I'm waiting.
How
bad was it?
I was looking forward to this movie so hard. This movie was supposed to be just the creme de la creme. It was supposed to be a horror movie,
Okay.
which there were some jump scares, but
were there?
It was funny in parts where I'm thinking they weren't meant to be funny. But look, it wasn't a great movie, but it set up all of the movies coming up after it. It reintroducing the multiverse in a movie sense, as opposed to the TV shows that have introduced the multiverse. So I'm excited for what's ahead for Marvel. I'm excited for what's ahead for Doctor Strange, and the future looks bright for these superheroes. Well, actually, it doesn't look bright. It looks terrible. It's going to be bad, but good.
What do you think the rating is for the Multiverse of Madness right now?
Like 52.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think it is?
1 to 10? 5.3.
Close. 6.1.
Haha, higher than I thought.
You really undershot it. Really undershot it, Rico.
No, I didn't.
Come on.
What are you
It's
talking about?
bad.
It's not great.
Okay, so before we get to your guys' pest, I already went through my pest on the captain show, but I'll do it now again. Big Ten baseball and how much they just don't care, because there's no excuse for a team with 44 wins in a season and a high enough RPI inside the top 50 to miss out on the tournament. You say that RPI matters, and then you leave out a 44-win Rutgers team, the alma mater of Todd Frazier. You leave out Rutgers.
How dare you? Todd Frazier would be disappointed.
Todd Frazier is probably
Punch in the air.
Yes.
That's what he's doing. He's
That's
mad.
right. He's mad.
He is upset.
All right. So once again, Pest of the Weekend, sponsored by Bats to Rats. Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcome animals. Call them today at 402-310-0904. That's Bats to Rats, wildlife control and prevention. You can also go online to batstorats.com. Mississippi Mud Dogs claims that Paul Goldschmidt is going to be my Pest of the Weekend next week because the Cardinals play the Cubs. Cubs are not playing well right now, unfortunately.
I saw your boy.
Keegan Thompson is our good pitcher, I guess. Stroman had 7 scoreless the other day, so I mean it's fine there.
I saw your boy hit the IL.
Yeah, say sprained finger. What are you gonna do? You know, it happens to the best of them. Giancarlo Stanton's on it every year.
I know. It took more games than I thought, but
It did.
he's back there.
It did. Thomas and Lincoln says, let's go Cardinals. No.
Hard pass.
Yeah, hard pass. I will say, I am happy that Paul Goldschmidt's having like a really hot streak right now because I have him on my Diamond Dynasty team. And he's like super charged up to a 97 overall. Normally he's an 88.
Shout out to Matt Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter with the straight up just mustache.
With the Yankees and the straight mustache.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a great mustache. And he hit a home run. It's great. Hit his first home run.
I didn't see he hit a home run.
He
That's
did.
awesome. Okay, let's get to your guys' Pest of the Weekends. Qdoba guy, first of all, said, I didn't think No Way Home was super great. Maybe I will wait to watch this one till it's cheap to rent. I thought No Way Home was good.
That might be a good idea, Qdoba guy.
Yeah, don't waste your time going to the movies. It's bad.
I mean, you could because movies are great regardless.
Eric says this, Nick, the things you say on a daily basis make it hard to trust your judgment.
It's true.
By the way, my pest, besides Rico,
Love you,
is
Eric.
moving. Never doing it again. Moving's bad. I am moving currently rooms upstairs to downstairs in our house.
Rooms. That's not
But you still got to carry all the stuff down the stairs.
Eric.
Eric, you just call me Eric.
Called you Eric.
Bro, big fella. Come on.
Nick.
How long we been working together?
Nick.
And you call me Eric.
Nick. You're.
No, I'm not trying to pity myself. I'm not trying to do that.
Oh man, moving sucks. I'm moving downstairs.
I'm moving downstairs. I'm just saying. Headboards, dressers, they're not light. Desks, they're not light. So obviously moving, house to house, property to property is way worse.
Just throw it down the stairs.
Unnamed texter goes, Pest of the Weekend. Nick, what did I do to you this weekend? Huh?
What didn't you do?
It's not the weekend anymore.
You should change Pest of the Week to Eric of the Week. Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
It's
Here
a
it
nice
is.
Eric of the weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Eric says, yet another shining example of why it's hard to trust your judgment.
It's true.
Eric, you keep saying these things, negative words and everything, but yet here we are having a conversation. Us over the radio, you through text message.
Strange.
And you're here every single day.
Weird how that works.
Here every single day. Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Sutter Heyman text line. Update on the poll questions. Mona Lisa, 55% say good. Let's see. What are we going to call Charles Schwab Field? Somehow, some way, the Chuck has taken over.
I told you.
And now it's 52%.
25
say the
votes.
Chuck.
52%.
I wonder what.
I'm going to win both of your polls.
There's no way. We guys, we cannot call it the Chuck.
Why? We can't call it the Schwab. What are you
We
getting, a
could.
Schwab?
The Schwab.
You're going to put a...
Dude.
You put a cotton Schwab in your ear.
All I'm saying is it rolled off the tongue when I tweeted out and just said packed house here at the Schwab. If I would have said packed house here at the Chuck, would have been way.
People would have been like, heck yeah, it is.
But it's not.
But instead,
because there are no fans that go to the Big Ten baseball tournament.
There was like 10 people.
Well, and I was telling Mark this earlier when you were in here with DP. It's like fans showed up in the 5th and 6th inning. And when they do that, obviously they're not fans of an actual team that are playing. It's just casual fans. And it was bad because
which is
like
fine.
It was it's fine. It was the biggest crowd on all weekend. But the worst part about the whole thing was you walk outside the stadium and there's no vendors set up. There's no like stores aren't open on a Sunday, and there's like 2 bars open. Like the atmosphere that I'm so used to being around the Schwab or the Chuck. I'm so used to being out and about during the College World Series when there are vendors on vendors on vendors, and there's that giant street party or whatever.
Yep.
And you have the Blatt that's open, and Addie's is down the road, and DJ Dugout, and hotels are full of people. And it's like the atmosphere outside the stadium, you know that there's something going on inside. And it's like, all right, time to lock in. We're watching a baseball game.
And even
today.
if nothing's going on inside,
yeah, exactly.
you're still having fun out there. You
still have the great atmosphere. You walk downtown. First of all, it was a 5 p.m. first pitch. I get down there in Omaha, or up there in Omaha on Sunday at like 4:45, and I parked a block and a half away from the stadium.
That shouldn't happen.
That should never happen. I parked outside the Holiday Inn.
You should have had to park at my grandma's house in South Omaha. That's where you should have had to park.
So all I'm saying is
you get there that late.
You have to park super far away normally. This weekend, I did not. I parked a block and a half away at the Holiday Inn. That's catty corner to the stadium.
Jeez.
I walked up, got my pass or whatever, walked in, and I'm like, all right, let's see do I want to go press box? Do I want to sit down in the field? I was like, maybe I'll sit down in the field. And 95% of the seats were open. And it's just, it is.
You could tell from the TV broadcast.
It's gut-wrenching.
Like your picture made it look terrible. The TV broadcast also made it look terrible.
Yeah.
They were doing their best to make sure they weren't showing the stands in like any of their shots. Like it was not great.
Now, granted, obviously, and we only have about 2 minutes left in this segment, but obviously baseball, it's not a money maker for the conference. And that's what so many people, that's what they argue when we talk about the Big Ten not caring about baseball and things like that. They're not putting on Big Ten baseball to make money because they're not going to generate a ton of revenue from it. They're not like the SEC, and it's not Big Ten football, and they don't have a giant TV deal, like all that. So anyway,
to make money, you got to spend money.
Yes, and invest time. I think that's a big part of it. You have to just invest some time and show that you actually care about it. Dusty says this: Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State to the SEC. What you think? A super conference?
No.
No. Can't compete for a conference championship in the Big Ten West. Can you do it in the SEC East?
Not happening down there.
Would Nebraska beat if Nebraska's able to stay away from Alabama, Tennessee, or excuse me, Alabama, why is Tennessee?
Tennessee, what are you talking
Alabama, Georgia.
That's it.
But has to play Florida. Do they ever win?
Yes.
Interesting.
Nebraska, Florida will go back and forth.
Okay.
With each other.
So it's like an Iowa, Nebraska?
Yeah.
Or Wisconsin, Nebraska?
If every SEC team could just avoid Alabama and Georgia, they would just go back and forth on who wins.
Not Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's bad.
No, Vanderbilt's not great.
Vanderbilt's bad. All right, Kevin in Southwest Lincoln says this: truth. No one in Nebraska cares about the Big Ten baseball tournament in Omaha if the Huskers are not playing. Baseball in this conference is nowhere near the level of SEC, Big 12, or Pac-12. I'd even add, actually, so Kevin, I would even put ahead of Pac-12, I would put the ACC. Because the ACC kind of,
the ACC's on its way.
yeah, they're playing well right now.
I mean, Florida State.
Florida State, NC State, obviously Virginia Tech now is a 4 seed.
North Carolina's pretty
You'll
consistent.
hear about that. North Carolina's consistent. Miami's back up in the top 10.
Yep.
So you have 5 teams right there that are top
Virginia
30.
Tech or
Yeah, that's what I said. So you'll hear all about, I'm sure, Virginia Tech being a 4 seed in the regional coming up in about 35 minutes or so. But for right now, let's go ahead and get ready to go to a break. We have EAS today on a Tuesday. So when we come back, we'll dive into Husker football a little bit. Does Nebraska fans, does the Husker Nation hold grudges against guys that leave the program? Do they care too much about guys that leave the program? we'll kind of discuss all that and more coming up next on the Happy Hour.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding.
Whoa!
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides: shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see: glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Austed from Austed's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet. Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website, make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket. I present the fruitcake. Long the subject of jokes, ridicule, derision, but did the fruitcake accept its place in the culinary totem pole? No! The fruitcake sought to rise to its full potential at Beatrice Bakery. Premium nuts, high-quality fruits, and the delectable trio of brandy, bourbon, and rum. Grandma's fruitcake is no punchline, but a decadent treat that packs a punch of flavor.
Check out Grandma's fruitcake and all the delicious desserts at Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of yum.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary, presented by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, back here on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. So Rico was just showing me a video of a moose chasing a bear.
Yeah, a bear killed a moose's calf, so the mama moose chased the bear.
And so that brought up the question, obviously, of what's scarier, a moose or a bear.
I think a bear.
I'm going with moose.
I think a bear because a bear gonna try and rip you apart and eat you. A moose might just squish you.
So moose.
And by squish, I mean crush.
Moose weigh 1,500 pounds or more.
They're very large.
They also stand at 6.9 feet tall. And they're 10 feet wide or long. Excuse me. Do you know how fast they move?
Very fast.
35 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's long legs.
They can move 35 miles per hour.
Did you know
bears can move 25 miles per hour?
Short legs, little stubby legs.
Yeah, can't move very fast.
Did you know that moose have been known to dive down to the bottoms of lakes to eat kelp? And there have been moose carcasses found inside killer whales.
That's insane. I did not know that.
Fun fact for the day: killer whales eat moose because moose dive.
Okay, so here's the capabilities. Unfortunately, moose are herbivores.
You mean fortunately?
Fortunately,
good for us.
They are herbivores, so that they wouldn't necessarily, but they are territorial and aggressive.
Extremely territorial.
Especially when rearing their young. So there's that. They can stomp or kick, and they can ram you with antlers.
A moose will mess you up.
That's what moose do. Bears are powerful bone-breaking bites, sharp claws that can tear open prey, uses weight to pin down their enemies. Okay, so maybe as a human, you're more worried about a bear.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. There's a little animal science. All right, so thank you, Rico. I appreciate the video and everything.
You're welcome.
All right, 402-464-5685. So I'm curious to get your thoughts, Rico, and the listeners, obviously. Do we feel like Nebraska's fans hold on to guys that leave the program too much? Like, are we at this place? Because think about where we're at right now. We're all talking about, every day Rashawn and I talk about how Adrian Martinez is going to do at Kansas State, or whether or not me and Rico dissect. Look at what Wan'Dale Robinson did at Kentucky.
The answer is yes.
So we do, like,
the answer is yes.
Do we hold a grudge?
Yes. It may not be, well, it's not all Husker fans, but there are a large group of Husker fans that anytime somebody comes to Nebraska and becomes a Husker, whether it be for a year, whether it be for 2 years, 3, 4, 5, however many years, if that person decides to leave and go somewhere else to do whatever, better their opportunity at the next level, or just to get away from something, I don't know, whatever. There are a large group of Husker fans who will talk negatively about that person. There's a larger group
that talks
positive and wishes nothing but the best. But there is a large group, and I'm sure this happens everywhere. There's a large group that talks negatively about said player and is saying, that person is weak and we didn't want that person anyways in this program. And yeah, we're better off without you. And now we can build our program the way that we wanted to because you were here and we couldn't do it properly and blah, blah, blah. And it's really frustrating to see that because it's not... I know everybody's like, oh, it's a commitment. You committed to this university. Yeah. That is true, but the university also committed to you. And if something isn't working out on either end,
or on both ends,
either end can make that decision. And when a kid decides to transfer, it's not always on the kid.
No,
there have been instances, maybe at Nebraska, maybe at other places, where a kid didn't want to leave. Or a kid didn't want to drop their commitment from the university, but they were told by outside forces within the university, sometimes not within the university, that, maybe you shouldn't.
Well, so what's interesting about that, I mean, we look at Logan Smothers, for example, right? And I've brought this topic up before, but Logan Smothers, one of these guys where he wants to be here. He's made it public that he wants to be here. And I don't doubt that for one moment that he wants to be a Nebraska Cornhusker. However, you want to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point throughout his career, he is going to have to say, all right, what's my goal? What's my end goal? Where do I want to be after I graduate? And if that's at the NFL, maybe my best opportunity is not at Nebraska.
Like, serious question for the text line, 402-464-5685. Again, this is serious. Would you hold a grudge? Would you hold it against Logan Smothers if he transferred? Because I wouldn't. I don't blame him. If he left today, I would not blame him. I would not hold anything against him because as it stands right now, it doesn't look like he has a path or a chance to see the field. If he wants to make it to the next level, if he wants to play any type of college football outside of garbage minutes and one game, if everybody's hurt, he needs to go somewhere else, whether that be a lower level or whether that be a school that just needs a quarterback or either that or switch positions. But if he wants to play quarterback, and I believe he's good enough to play quarterback, it might be in his best interest to go to a different university. And I understand he made a commitment to Nebraska. He wants to be at Nebraska. He's said so publicly. But if his end goal is to play college football and not just practice college football, it may be in his best interest to go somewhere else.
I think what's interesting with that and Logan Smothers, like on top of the whole, you can't be mad at him for transferring. If a guy like Logan Smothers is a really useful example, it's easy to use Logan Smothers as an example because he was a higher profile recruit. There was a lot of potential. Nebraska staff seemed to like him. They told us that they liked him a lot. We've seen him start games in a Nebraska uniform, but yet now it seems like everything's backtracked and now they're taking multiple quarterbacks over Logan Smothers.
I mean, this would have been the perfect year for him.
Well, we talked to, whether it's Baz or whether it's Sip or whatever, and there's a lot of, or Steve Mark, they feel like Logan or Chubba Purdy may have hopped or jumped over Logan Smothers just because he was an addition while Mark Whipple was here. And part of that may be where Logan Smothers just kind of gets the tough end of the deal because they have a new offensive coordinator in town. Like, if Matt Lubick is here, now maybe this isn't a way for Nebraska to be successful, but if Matt Lubick was here, maybe they don't go out and get Casey Thompson. Maybe they just go out and get a guy in like a Chubba Purdy, where he has 3 or 4 years left, not going to play this next year because they feel good about Logan Smothers, and they work with Logan Smothers or Heinrich Harburg.
Yeah, or they get a Chubba Purdy who's meant to push a Logan Smothers, but in the end, the coaching staff is more than likely going to go with Logan Smothers. I mean, this would have been the perfect year if they had any faith in him starting and being the future of this program. This would have been the perfect year to hand the reins off to him. But they went out. Yeah. They got a 2-year, 3-year starter from the Big 12. They went out and got a guy with 4 years left of college eligibility from the ACC, from a traditional powerhouse in Florida State. And Logan Smothers is kind of left on the outside looking in.
Now, we talk about like commitment with a player to a university, right? And if, let's say, Logan Smothers, there'd be those people, if Logan Smothers left, say, oh, well, we committed to you. But in a roundabout way, you weren't as committed to him anymore because you went out and got those 2 guys. Now, there's always room to improve the competition in the room and things like that. But in the types of guys that they went out and gotten, and by that I mean an instant starter in Casey Thompson, who was a somewhat successful Power 5 starter, but he was a starter at the Power 5 level at a place like Texas that, as much as Nebraska fans don't want to hear it, is somewhat comparable to a place like Nebraska.
I don't know it is over the last since 2009.
Well, since 2009, yes, but I'm saying in terms of prestige and how much football means and things like that as well.
Yeah, I get you.
And national respect, I think, would be okay to say as well. But you get a guy like Casey Thompson, not only because Mark Whipple's the new guy in town, but you need somebody that you feel the most confident in giving you the most wins if you're head coach Scott Frost. Then you go out and get a guy like Chubba Purdy, who there's a lot of excitement around him with the coaching staff. And by all indications, they feel like he's going to be ready to start, if not this year, if Casey Thompson has a good enough year, next year.
Mm-hmm.
So where does Logan Smothers fall into that mix? So if a guy like Logan Smothers, now, once again, I don't expect Logan to leave. I truly don't, especially with what he said publicly. But if a guy in Logan Smothers' situation decides to move on, nobody can be mad.
It makes sense.
And the Milkman says this, and I think this is where a lot of Husker fans are. And by bringing up this topic, I wasn't trying to throw Nebraska fans under the bus or anything like that. But the Milkman says this: I follow them when they leave. I don't wish them bad luck. I just want to see how they do. I think there is a lot of curiosity because we look at a guy like Wandale. Now, obviously, that's the far end of the spectrum. Look at a guy like Wandale, who had some success here at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska as a team might not have had some success, but then Wandale leads the SEC, probably, or the best conference in football in receiving yards, and then gets to be drafted 2nd round overall. There's obviously, without even thinking about it, we're going to compare.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do at Kentucky that we didn't do at Nebraska? What did Nebraska do that Kentucky didn't do? What was the situation around him? And so I think it's okay to compare, but we're sitting here talking about Adrian Martinez, and you guys know that we love Adrian Martinez on the show.
Big pro Adrian Martinez show.
We're a pro Adrian Martinez show. Now, we can be a pro Adrian Martinez show while saying that it was best for him and Nebraska to part ways.
Yes.
And we can be a pro Adrian Martinez show by understanding and acknowledging the fact that he lost Nebraska a lot of games.
Yes.
And on top of that, we can be a pro Adrian Martinez show and say, all right, I think he's going to have a pretty good situation at Kansas State, because me and Rico truly do. And a big part of that is because you have Deuce Vaughn in the backfield next to Adrian Martinez.
Number 6 ranked running back on Mel Kiper's big board.
And you have an identity at Kansas State, which is interesting. So with that in mind, Adrian Martinez was on a podcast or whatever a couple days ago, had an interview, and he said something about Nebraska, about the lack of depth or lack of talent or whatever.
He said that he believes that this Kansas State team is the most talented roster he's been around. And my thing with that is he has to say that
That's a good point.
Even if he doesn't mean it, he has to say that if he's going to be the starting quarterback of this team. He can't go out there and say, yeah, well, this team's really good, but my first year at Nebraska, man, that roster was, that was a great roster, man. That blows this roster out of the way. He can't say that. He's going to play for Kansas State, therefore he's going to campaign for Kansas State. That's how it is.
That's true.
You don't see NFL players going to a different team and being like, yeah, well, when I played for the Miami Dolphins, man, that team was great. Right now I'm over here with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're okay. But that Miami Dolphins squad I was on, that was fantastic. No, they're sitting there like, look, this team is amazing. It's a close-knit team. We're like a family here. These guys are all amazing. We have so much talent, blah, blah, blah. I think we can go all the way. That's just what happens.
Saying the same thing that Casey Thompson's telling us.
Yeah, it's just what happens.
So I didn't want to bring this up necessarily to be like, stop trying to talk about all these former Nebraska players, because I'm not. I'm going to talk about them just as much as the next guy, and I'm going to pay attention to like what Adrian Martinez does. And I'm probably more inclined now to turn on a Kansas State game this fall because of who the starting quarterback is. And I mean, we tied our ship to him for 4 years. And so with that in mind, like, there's a lot invested in the guy that's starting down at Kansas State. There's a lot that Nebraska fans have invested in him. So it's just kind of crazy to think about just some of the guys that Nebraska has had move on from their program, whether it's been Adrian Martinez, whether it's been Wandale or Greg Bell. Like, that was the thing, is you never heard people talk about Greg Bell. He was doing well at San Diego State. He was doing well. Nobody ever heard of it. Nobody ever talked to him. I think what the biggest thing is, and just kind of by talking this out and stuff with you, Rico, is I'm realizing that like Nebraska fans, they invest so much, which we knew.
Nebraska fans love hard and love fast.
Yeah, they invest so much into guys that when they leave, it physically pains them.
It's a punch in the gut.
I truly think that is. And I didn't think about that while I was, thinking about this topic and trying to dive deeper in this. But after like talking to you now, it's like, I think they just invested so much, and they sit here and they go, yeah, we just invested 4 years of our fanhood and passion into Adrian Martinez. And now he's going down and saying that we weren't the most talented roster he's been a part of. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
We were 4 years. So it's just kind of interesting to think about. Ryan from Nashville, before we take our final time out, says this: whatever panned out with Maurice Washington, he is at Grambling.
Yes. He was out of football for 2 years.
Yeah, it seemed to like he got his
stuff
figured out. Off the field
affairs
stuff
in order.
Yep, and so now he's playing at Grambling. John in Cortland says this: after he said that, I'm with VJ. Get Kansas State in a bowl game and deal with the issue. There's against that. Why is there have to be an issue? Like, I'm sorry, but why? What is Nebraska going down and beating Adrian Martinez after there's a potential that both sides just mutually parted ways? What is Nebraska as a program going to get out of beating Kansas State in a bowl game? We're not going to be looking back in 5 years, and this is not just at you, John and Cortland. I'm not coming at you for this, but with this narrative of beat Kansas State in a bowl game in 4 years. What is this? We're not going to be looking back and going, "Yep, in 2022, remember when we beat that 6-6 Kansas State team?"
Remember when we had that 4-year starting quarterback and he went down and wore purple and we beat him in a bowl game? That was great.
In the New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
Nobody cares.
I'm sorry.
Look, I mean this from the bottom of my heart to every Husker fan that is obsessed with beating Kansas State and beating Adrian Martinez to somehow stick it to him one last time. Get over it.
There you go. All right, 402-464-5685. Let's go ahead and take our final time out. We'll be back. Maybe continue this topic. Also talk maybe NFL. CeeDee Lamb is the Cowboys' number 1. Is he an upgrade from Amari Cooper? We'll see what happens. We'll talk about it coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Cynthia and Ed.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, out of the blue, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn or just stay at the stop sign. She wasn't even really sure where she was at. She was very concerned. It was very unsettling for her.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it, to bring the family in on it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagee sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Okay, so I want to get to the Cowboys talk tomorrow because it's actually really interesting. CeeDee Lamb, so Jerry Jones, I should say, was...
No shouts out to Jerry Jones.
Yeah, no shouts out to Jerry Jones. But Jerry Jones publicly said the other day that CeeDee Lamb is a clear-cut upgrade from Amari Cooper. And I'm curious about that. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow because... in terms of receptions, receiving yards, I was doing a little brief, research into this.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of receptions, receiving yards, targets, CeeDee Lamb was on top or was ahead of Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdowns, Amari Cooper was ahead of CeeDee Lamb last year. So there's that. Also, what my thoughts was, does Dak get paid without Amari Cooper?
Ooh.
So let's leave it at that. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Good question.
I'm curious. Does Dak is Dallas as patient as they were with Dak or holding out on Dak as long as they were and eventually paid him if Amari Cooper is not there? So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so going back to this whole former players thing, Craig says this: playing Kansas State in a bowl game is the worst idea ever. What if Adrian lights up the defense and they win by 35? Then what? He goes, no faith in Frost or the program at all. Can you tell? Wet Blanket adds this: I am 100% team Adrian, Nick and Rico. Fact is, Adrian played with 8 NFL draft picks in 4 years at Nebraska, and Nebraska has recruited transfers to replace everybody he played with. He probably is on the most talented team he has ever played on. Ooh.
I mean, he is playing on a team that had a winning record last year.
Well, and the Big 12 is probably a little bit of an easier conference, less physical conference than the Big 10 is. Kansas State also has an identity. Throughout, you can argue if we want to have this conversation, I'm going to approach this conversation since we only have about 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to have this, Kansas State has an identity of what they want to do on offense. Nebraska through 4 years, Nebraska didn't have an identity.
No.
And we still, to this point, don't know if they do. 100% honesty, we don't know. We don't know what they're going to try to do on offense. Vershawn says 60-40 run pass. I'm saying it's probably going to be a little more pass.
Mark Whipple's past does not show that.
So it's like, what is the identity of Nebraska? Will Nebraska have an identity this year?
I have a controversial take.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear it, Rico.
I'm not sure if I can completely back it up yet.
Okay.
You have to give me some time. The Big 10 is more physical than the Big 12.
Uh-oh.
But the Big 10 West, aside from Wisconsin and Iowa, pretty comparable to the Big 12? Which are the teams that you have to beat?
Possibly, yes. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's look at that. Styles tomorrow. Yeah. We'll look at Styles tomorrow. We'll talk Cowboys.
It's easily more physical, but the Big 10 West and the Big 12, not that different outside of, Kansas.
Yeah. Interesting. Wilmot says this on the text line: our identity is turnovers and mistakes. LOL.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
They're
Well,
perfect.
They are hitting that home. They are perfect at their identity.
Yes.
All right, we're done for today. We'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday. See ya.
Adios.